Hey everybody, welcome back. Crumb again, being a big baby. He was making a lot of noise, he wanted attention, and so here we go. Which has nothing to do with the subject of what we're discussing here today. What we're discussing here today is trusting the science. Do you trust the science? You shouldn't. You shouldn't trust the science. Science is something that is, for the most part, ever changing. There are things within science that are static, things that have been experimented with enough that you just know, okay, this is the way that it is, period. But most of the rest of it is fluid. And even science that you know something about, science that you know for sure, okay, for example, this is how gravity works. There's nothing wrong with questioning it. Questioning science is part of science, or it should be. And before I get going here, I wanted to give a shout out to Ashley. Ashley, thank you very much for reaching out to the channel. Crumb appreciates it. And if you're wondering about the cat and the cat images that I'll have in the video, it helps with the algorithm, and they are pictures I took myself of strays that I help. So getting on with this, trusting the science. I mean, we're expected, or we've been conditioned now in the world. You want to get down? What are you doing? We've been conditioned most people have been conditioned in public school, by politicians, by celebrities, by scientists, to just accept what they're told and run with it. Oh, the experts gave their seal of approval, suck it up and move on. And if you don't accept it, then they get the masses of those who do brainlessly believe everything that they're told to go on a witch hunt and make your life hell. And I, for one, am absolutely sick and tired of that. You should question absolutely everything, because you cannot be sure. You are lied to all the time. When I was a kid, my mother smoked menthol cigarettes because the doctor told her it would help calm her nerves. Okay? I'm that old. Once upon a time, doctors used to tell people to smoke. It's absolutely healthy, especially menthols. Yeah, sure. Why? Because the science said it was fine. Because the cigarette companies paid for that to happen. They paid for doctors and scientists and other agencies to claim that cigarettes were not only not unhealthy, but actually good for you. And they went along with it because enough palms were greased. That is how science works, folks, in the real world. When you get away from actually caring about studying something and you get threatened or bribed, it turns into something completely different. You want to get down? Go ahead. That's enough of Crumb. That's Crumb, by the way, short for Crumb Snatcher, because when he first came in here, he would eat anything he could get his paws on, if you will. Literally anything. Coffee, salted nuts. If you had a sandwich, he'd jump up and take a bite out of it and run. He was crazy. He's calmed down quite a bit, though, but he's still Crumb to me. I mean, you can't even, in academics, you can't even get scientists to agree on whether or not Pluto is a planet. But we're supposed to accept everything that we're told. And that's true. They took Pluto off the list. Remember, it was always a planet. Then it wasn't. And then not too long after, they're debating whether they should put it back. They can't even make up their mind about that. But something that got a few months of research, you were supposed to just wholeheartedly believe. And I will remind you, some of you might be aware or you might not, I've talked about it before. I worked for an agency that did surveys in the early 90s in Watertown, Massachusetts. It was actually located in the Watertown Arsenal Mall, or in the Watertown Mall adjacent to the Arsenal Mall. If it's even still there, I don't even know. And they conducted surveys, is what I mean. And they were paid to get a specific result. So they manipulated data to get that result. And the way that they manipulated data was by focusing questions at specific individuals, so they know what response they were going to get. And in the computer age, that has gotten so much easier to do. in the modern age, in the electronic age, especially with artificial intelligence, you ever take a survey and then you get kicked out of it? It's because the AI determined that you weren't going to give the answer that they were paid to collect. That's the problem. So do I trust science? I trust science, but I don't trust scientists, and I don't trust the system. I don't trust politicians. I don't trust any social aspect. I don't trust the media. I don't trust social groups. I don't trust schools or universities even telling you that something is true without you having the ability to test it yourself. And an argument that a lot of people make is, well, you're not a scientist, you're not a doctor. Who are you going to trust? Doctors? Doctors know less than you think. All right, let me just throw that under the bus really quick. I had an argument actually with a general practitioner not too long ago about the you-know-what, because I never took one. And they're, oh, well, you should because blah, blah, blah. And they made a reference to polio when I asked them, how do you contract polio? What do you know about polio? And they gave me the wrong answer. Think about that. This is a person who's been practicing medicine for years, doesn't know how you get polio, but wants to use it as a reference for why you should get this. I've talked about polio before on the channel. I don't know if you caught those discussions, and you'd be surprised how you get it. But it's not through sneezing or coughing like this person thought. Doctor my ass. But just like you did not sit in a laboratory and do experiments, neither did the doctor. Neither did that doctor. Neither did any politician. Neither did any celebrity. Neither did any teacher or anyone else, any nurse, anyone who's trying to manipulate you into doing something that you should question. You should always question everything. Again, especially in the modern age with so much manipulation out there in the mainstream media from politicians, from social activist groups, you can't really trust any of it. So yeah, trusting science is one thing, but as the meme says, and I'll read it down really quick, coercion is not science, withholding data is not science, manipulating data is not science, cherry-picking studies is not science, social conditioning is not science, fear-mongering is not science, and censorship is not science. But it's presented as such. It's presented as such. You can't only listen to specific scientists that you have paid yourself or manipulated or coerced and just take their data and ignore everybody else and call it science. Because then you're manipulating everybody. You're trying to manipulate everybody, and we are all being manipulated all the time. You should question everything. They used to say, believe half of what you see and none of what you hear. Now you can't even believe half of what you see anymore because everything that you're looking at is being manipulated. And especially with CGI and other techniques, you don't know if what you saw is what you saw anymore unless you were actually there to witness it. So that's my 2 cents on that, on trusting the science. I hate that even I hate even that buzz phrase. That buzz phrase, oh, trust the science, you got to trust the science. No. Trust the science. Once upon a time, science told you to spray kids with DDT to keep mosquitoes off of them. Trust the science. And then they find out something's wrong with it. Do you know how many inoculations have been removed from use, from service, because of birth defects? I can't count them. But you're supposed to trust the science. No, you shouldn't trust anything until you've had enough time to make a decision for yourself. And you should be able to make a decision for yourself without being coerced or manipulated or threatened into doing something that your conscience tells you, maybe I shouldn't be doing this, or maybe I ought to at least wait. Thoughts? If you have any thoughts on that subject, feel free to post your thoughts in the comments section down below. Please do give the video a thumbs up if you got something out of it. I hope that you did. Share it if you can. Subscribe if you're new, all that good stuff. Check out some of the other videos if you're new. Maybe you'll see something you like. I hope that you do. If you wanted to help the channel out, there are links for that down below. Every little bit helps, and I sure do appreciate it. And if that's it, what more can I say but stay frosty, folks, and thanks for watching.